welcome. Shout out to you for coming through. All right, we are back. And the reason why we are back is because before I cut to this video, I want to spend a little time giving a special shout out to some people who made all of this possible, all right? I want to shout out my sister Toya. Thank you. Like, what you've done in this process, I mean, working on the camera and helping with lighting and just set up. Like, when I told you, hey, I'm looking to film this is where it's going down, you was right there. I want to say thank you. Thank you. Double salute if I wasn't holding this camera right now. Another person I thanked in private. You know, you have those kind of people who are like, hey, you know what? I don't want the spotlight, you know, keep it off me. This next person is like that. I've told her in private, but I'm sure she's not going to like this. I'm going to do it anyway. Thank you, Jen. And I said your name. You're like, come on. And it's done. It's too late. I don't feel like editing that part out. But I want to say thank you. Seriously, helping me be accountable. Say, hey, where are we on this? What we got going? How's the dream coming? Come on. Like, all of that I really appreciate as well, too. So I want to give a special shout out to those two. And then, Jeremy, the video, the story, how you just put the words together and gave so many gems. Thank you. And thank you for, like, listening, liking it, doing all of those sort of things and getting so much from it. So I want to say I appreciate you, and I can't wait for you to see the next things that we have set. I'm going to see you on the next one.
And I want to let him know, man, look, I do not hate you. We were children. We didn't know. He said, man, I went to get you help. And when he told me he went to give me help, that did it. Wow. That did it, man. I said, thank you so much. And he said, man, from that point, he was in trouble a lot. He had a lot of anger issues. He said that a lot of the anger that he had in himself, that it took him on a whole nother journey. But I wasn't thinking about his journey. I was just about me. But he said that affected him for years and years.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I want to get back into the incident because it sounds like you all have done this same technique of hopping the train for many times. Many times.
We did many times.
And you said that particular train usually is not moving.
Not moving, just sits there.
So it sounds like you all hopped the train and the train did start moving.
It did start moving, yeah. It did start moving, and we was like, man, this is gonna be a long train. And when it started moving, usually we like to wait.
You all are in the train now.
Yeah, this time we're walking up. The way it works when you train hop, you wait till the ladder gets close to you, and once the ladder gets close to you, you grab the ladder and then you jump on over. That's how you usually do it. But this day, this train was moving kind of fast, and we was like, man, we may need to hold up, but we decided to do it anyway. So now that the train is moving, you run, you grab the ladder, you pull yourself over, and then you jump over. This day, Chris went over, a friend of mine went over, and then once I went over, I slipped and fell, and that was it, bro. And I was like, oh my gosh, how did I get here in this point? And so to have two trains on the track moving, and then to hop over both to get back in the middle of the street, just to jump up and say, hey, help me, I'm dying, help me, I'm dying. And a young man picked me up, and I'll never forget, matter of fact, had a vehicle like yours when it first came out, just about, and I was like, man, I don't want to miss this because I'm bleeding everywhere. So I don't want to miss your car. I don't want to miss your car. He said, man, don't worry about this car. He picked me up, put me in that car, and drove 100 miles per hour with the emergency lights on to it's CMMC now, but it was originally Methodist Hospital, and that's what he took me to, and dropped me off, man, and stayed to make sure I was okay.
When you deal with the biggest blow that fear can try to dish out, and you can send it right back at it, get out of here, fear, then I would think that, as you mentioned, continues to allow you to be able to overcome fear.
That's right.
Which you've done an excellent job at.
No fear, no excuses. I'm grateful to be alive, and let me just take these moments that I have, and like you said it so right. I'm gonna go as far as I can. But I know I'm gonna make it home, but I can't get home around these with fear. I'm not gonna make it back home. I get rid of fear, I make it home.
As a kid, on that train track,
Yeah.
you said, I refuse to die here. I refuse. Had you experienced any particular kind of loss before? I asked that because as a kid, sometimes I remember just for myself feeling somewhat invincible.
Yeah, you do.
You know, and just kind of feeling that I don't really know many people like me as a kid that has to deal with that kind of reality.
You know, it wasn't so much as a death of a family member or somebody I was close to. It was what I saw in my community, and I saw till this day, and no exaggeration, till this day, about 98% of the ones I hung around and grew up with, they're either dead or in jail. And you know, it was a constant thing in my neighborhood to go to a school, and then across the street you hear it on the news that it was someone at the store, behind the store, found dead at the store you go to after school just to get snacks. Like, was he there when I was there?
Wow.
Did I pass by him and not see him? I went to the store around about that time he was found. Like, was that 5 minutes after me? Was he back there and I didn't see him? Stuff like this going through my head, and I'm seeing people found dead or shot in the head or drug overdoses, and I'm like, okay, I see the nature of where I am.
The reality of
death.
The
reality of death is around me, and I do not want to go out that way.
But in that moment, it sounds like you literally, it went through your head.
It did.
It went through your head, and it was something that you had to honestly begin to consider.
I did.
How did you find the strength, you believe, in order to be able to leap over the same thing that just caused such pain and injury to you?
I know there's some things we're not in control of, but if you got power over to control it, how do you choose to leave here? How do you want to leave here? And it's a certain mindset that I had when I was little. I'm not leaving here a certain way. And when I saw that, bleeding as much as I was bleeding, because I lost, I think, 2 gallons of blood, I had to immediately get a blood transfusion because I was so dizzy. And then when I was dizzy and I could barely stood up, and I felt myself kind of losing it, and I said, no, I'm not dying here. That was my motivation, because I knew already my motivation was, I'm not dying here. Not in this surrounding, not what I'm around, not what I see. I refuse to have this yellow caution tape around my body. I refuse to. And just something came over me. You know, they call the angels of heaven adrenaline, you know. So something came over me, and I got this energy to stand up, and I'm bleeding like I've never bled before in my life. You want to imagine how much blood. But I was able to do what I did because I had, I think it's just saying that the greatest will a man can have is the will to survive, something like that. But that was my motivation. I saw myself growing older. I saw myself with a family. I saw myself with kids. Not today.
Wow.
Not today.
So you have the vision. So you have the vision. That takes a lot of maturity.
Yeah.
But it also takes a certain level of belief.
It does.
A certain level of belief, a certain amount of faith.
Yes.
You're 11 years old. Where would one muster that kind of faith, that kind of belief?
Knowing that you can't do it by yourself and seeing people that try to do it by themselves and fail miserably. I know I need help. God, I need help. I can't do this by myself. And I'm looking and seeing people just living by themselves. I know what no hope looks like. I know when somebody on the corner on drugs and don't know where their next meal coming from. I've seen people that lost their families just walking down the street with nothing. I've seen, folk in the military that have given their lives to their country and feel like their country didn't receive them. I've seen this. I've walked past this. I've heard the conversations, and I'm looking at this and I'm hearing this. I can't do this by myself. God, I need your help. Didn't know a lot of understanding about God. Didn't know nothing about the Bible. Pretty much wasn't raised up like that. But I just knew that there was something more and greater help than me, than myself, than where I am. I need help. And from that moment, I knew when that was going on, I need help. And when I cried out, God, I need help. I can't do this by myself. And so at that moment, that's when my faith started to slowly grow into a God that I didn't necessarily have a relationship with, that I didn't know, but I knew existed beyond a shadow of a doubt, because I just didn't want to be the example that I saw all the time, because the wrong examples were everywhere. It was so easy. I wanted to be a different example. I wanted to be a good example. And because of that, that's what really drove my faith. I want to be a good example of light, that you don't have to live this way. You don't have to make these decisions. You don't have to go with the trends. I can go this way, but I ain't gonna be able to do this by myself. I'm gonna need some divine intervention. And that's when my faith started to grow. Yeah. That's when it started to grow.
You know, and it seems like you were able to take those difficult situations in your life. That's one of the things I say about you. You've been able to take those difficult situations, channel it in a positive way, use it as momentum to get you to your dreams.
That's right.
As we get ready to wrap up, you played high school ball.
I did.
You got a scholarship and was able to play college ball as well too. And I know you, part of that dream too was like, you know what? This majors thing, let's go ahead and take it there. Yeah. You know, you weren't able to go to the majors. However, you still was able to make it to the upper echelon majors of life, I call it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because despite your circumstance, despite your situation, you're a great person. And people wouldn't even tell about some of the adversities you've had to go through. Yeah. It didn't stop you. Because, you know, fear is still present. Fear tries, but fear has been unsuccessful with you. Tell me, for you, Jeremy, what does a home run look like now for you? What does a home run look like for you now?
A home run for me, if I can take my life, I think about, oh man, where I came from, how I grew up, the disadvantages that I had, not being able to do certain things, not being able to go certain places, growing up, going through what I went through, my accident, getting married, having a family, going to college, getting a baseball scholarship, and doing all these things that I never thought, but just having the drive to myself that I know I can do this. God, I need your help. And that home run for me was just that divine intervention, changing my heart, having something like that God put me through to change my life so much and humble me in a way that it pushed me to swing, not just for everybody else, but for me. It was for me, man, before it was for anybody. It wasn't about a show. It wasn't about showing and proving to people. This was about Jeremy going in his mind and prove it to himself. You can do this, Jeremy. You can do this. But God, I need your help. That's my home run for every aspect of my life and everything that I do. I'm going up here to hit a home run. God, I need your help. And when I hit one out here at Trustmark, I want to do this. God, I need your help. And finally, even from the high school up to the college baseball, man, and even to here, in my dream, and one of my dreams was to hit a home run in the majors when I was a little boy. I didn't go to the majors. I didn't hit that home run for that team, but yet I hit that home run on a major league field.
You did.
And I said, and it's a dream come true. I think about how scared I was, how much fear I had on that train track, the fear of dying at that moment when I was bleeding. What you do every day, take advantage of that day, because I never thought that day, lying to my mother, saying I was going somewhere where I wasn't, what possibly could have been the last day of my life. Because one person, it was the last day of their life. They were decapitated a year after me, and they picked him up into pieces. Well, what's the difference?
Same train.
Same train, same spot, but yet he was picked up in pieces. His torso was about 80 feet from his head. What was the difference between me? And so now you have this thankfulness and this gracefulness to God for your whole life, but you don't see it at that moment. And then now when fear comes, you're like, wait a minute, I've been at the epitome of fear before. I've been there, but I know what God took me to, and now I see what God took me to, and now I can't let this fear stop me, because I know what God can do for me, because I've been through it and I've seen it. And once you have a testimony like that and you've been there and you bear witness to it, fear does come, yes it do, but it just don't make a home. That's right.
Why did fear not stop Jeremy? Why did fear not stop you?
Because I had that one vision in my mind I got to get home. And it's funny how this is all, I never looked at it this way, but now that we're talking with you, I'm really seeing how this whole thing is just coming together. I wanted to go back home, and I'm playing this game of baseball. The goal is to get back home. That's your run. That's how you score. That's how you win. Get back home. But fear is not going to let me get back home. And if that's in the way, there you go. That's the defense. That's who's trying to get me out. You're exactly right. There's always a defense trying to get you out to keep you from getting on base, to getting back home. You are a threat. And fear considers that you're a threat. You can make it through this, but I got to make it back home. And so that was the whole core of everything. The whole core is making it home, that you win. You're gonna lose. Yes, there are times you're gonna lose, but ultimately, did you really lose? You know, did you really lose? You look at it, but what did you gain from that? But the lessons come from those failures. That's where the lessons come from. The lessons come from when things don't go well, when things don't go right, and you in that wall like, Lord, what do I do? That's when you learn. And now in this moment on this track, when I'm bleeding half to death and I got a decision whether to live here or die, I learned in that very moment the core of life. Do you really want to make it back home? You know, so now you use this, and now it's something that God gave me, and I use it to this day. Yes, I'm gonna swing. Yes, I do want to get a home run because I'm guaranteed to make it back home. Fear has never benefited me one day in my life. I understand caution and being reserved, yeah, but fear, it can't really teach me anything. But my failures can, my mistakes can. That's why I never let fear, because I know what it's here for. It's here to hinder, slow down, or stop. Either one. Either one. And if it can get in your heart either way, hinder, slow down, or stop, who winning now? Because ain't no way you're going to make it back home. Ain't no way you're going to score. Ain't no way you're going to round the bases with that, you know? So, but yeah, man, I just take life one step, one time at the plate, one swing at a time.